Hey guys, Tel17 here with the second part of the Busan Pocket campaign in Wargame Red Dragon. Earlier in part 1 we defended Daegu up in the northwest and Yuichang in the southwest. Right now we have another incursion in Yuichang, this time with an artillery battery and a group of tanks. We were expecting these guys and that's why I parked the T1 or the K1 heavies here. And we have a fight going on in the northeast, where the tank battalion or the tank regiment from the North Koreans has finally arrived, along with the expected Su-25Ks. So we got two maps, two pretty open maps. And luckily they're not attacking this time in Daegu, so these forces are going on R&R this time, which will give me 2 cohesion. And cohesion will help you in getting more deployment points in the beginning of the battle. So I put these forces on R&R, I put these guys, the infantry regiment, on R&R, and finally the 8th Strike Squadron cannot attack from their side without any ground units, so I'm not too worried about these. Next, let's see about how we're going to defend Yuichang. Now we already fought a battle here and it is this open map. Somehow they managed to capture Delta, and they don't have any reinforcement zones. So what we need to do is go from Yuichang, take Namgang, and this way we're going to cut them off from any reinforcements, destroy anything they have, which means destroy or protecting this bridge, and protecting this field, and keeping Busan, this sector, and this one to make sure that all they got is in here. To do that, we can use the K1 heavies, we can use the tank regiment or the tank battalion we used earlier, and what we're going to be up against is a lot of tanks and 0 anti-air. This means that even we can use these things again, the F-86Fs, so I'm going to send these to the left flank. Now they got no planes in this area, so we don't need any air superiority fighters, but they do have the Su-25Ks up in the north. So this is where the KF-16Cs are really going to shine. We're going to send them here, and since this is the other side of the map we need to defend, it's a very open desert map, which means that it's going to be an expert opportunity for our F-4ES planes. These are the ATGM carriers. Send these to the north. And then finally I have the 105th Strike Squadron. These are the bombers with the 227 kilogram bombs. And I'm going to send these to the left to hopefully destroy some of these artillery batteries. Now what we're still lacking on this side is recon, unfortunately. So we're going to have to pull the same stunt again, where we use infantry to scout, help these tanks, and keep the eyes open for the FDS and the 86Fs. I could call in some reserves if I have any. I have a attack helicopter convoy here. These are going to be very useful in this match because they have the OH-6C Kiowa Scout, and these things are going to be very useful both here and here. But in this side we already have a close recon convoy, so I'm going to call them in to Busan and send them to the left. This way we have much better vision for both our airplanes here and our tanks. And we can even use the AH-1S and the J version to take out any vehicle which gets too close. So let's dive into it. Yuichang first. Now we can see what they have, and what they have isn't very much in the sense of units. All they have is one command tank, and if we can destroy this one we're going to be at a major advantage. They got 8 artillery batteries and 60 tanks, but I'm not too worried about these. They barely have any armor, especially the Type 63, and they don't do a lot of damage. So my tanks, my helicopters and my strike squadron should be able to take care of this pretty quickly. So here we are. Now the first thing we need to do is make sure that we have an air zone to bring in reinforcements from and to bring in the aircraft we're going to be using this battle. What I'm going to do is send out one of the OH-6s. I want to get them as close to the front line as possible, but this might be a little too close, because if they have tanks here, this thing still needs to get in the air, which means that it's going to be very vulnerable. So I'm going to move this thing a bit further back, put it over the towns, and now it's already in the air the moment it spawns. What I want to do is have recon here, scout what they have, come in with the F4 ESs, or the DSs in this case. So I'm bringing 2 of these. I want to lock down this area and Namgang. So what I want to do there is have some infantry in this block of houses. For this I can use the recoilless rifles, which are going to be excellent in this case because they have 13 AP power and a good range. So I'm going to call in 2 of these guys, and hopefully they won't get destroyed when they are going to arrive here. Next, I want to put a command tank in this sector to make sure that it won't get captured, and now we can call in reinforcements from here. Put 2 K1s to escort these guys, and this way we're going to be sure that the recoilless rifles don't get destroyed. I want another recon chopper here, and I want to actively use both these choppers to scout for their vehicles. I want to know where that command tank is so I can destroy it. Then I'm going with the helicopters, which have the tow missiles, and these are the AH-1Ss. I'm going to deploy these one by one so that I can call them back to resupply and that they make sure that they're not firing at the same target. I'm going to make mini hunter killer groups of these, so I want 1 OH-6 scout chopper and 1 attack chopper, and that gives me room for 1 more chopper, and I want to call that in with this group. So we don't have that many forces right now, but we got a good amount of supplies coming in, and they don't have any reinforcements, so we should be able to destroy these guys pretty easily. Let's get to it. These guys fast moving to here. The OH goes here. And as you can see, they haven't captured Delta at this point, which means that the Chonma-ho is on the move. So we're calling the bombers, and we're going to send these guys right after this tank. Send my attack chopper in. Hopefully these bombs will stun him, so that the attack chopper is going to have an easier time destroying this vehicle. There he is, he's stunned, which means that right now we can start offloading tows onto this guy. 78% and this thing still misses. So that's the only command vehicle we killed, and it's the only unit we killed in this match, but it's their last command vehicle, so we get a total victory in only 40 seconds. I suspect that the other battle will not be that easy. Here we have the other conflict in Young-deok. We're going up against 56 tanks, a couple of recon units and planes, but they do not have any anti-air, so our F4 ES anti-GM planes should have a really nice match. Okay, what we have here is 2 zones of our own, to Daegu and to Busan. They only have this reinforcement zone to Uljin, and what they're going to be doing is sending tanks along these main roads to capture this zone and this one. So what we want to do is have recon out in this area. These bushes are going to make a very nice overwatch point for our Tokchon-se, which is the elite recon unit from the South Koreans. These things fly in the chopper, so I'm going to put these over some woods. I want some other recon units up here, and I'm going to offload these guys on top of the mountain so they have good eyes on everything that goes in here. Now I'm going to call in an FOB as far back as I can, and the safest position to do this is probably here in Daegu. Now I could put it back here, which means that any tanks that come across this bend are going to see it right away, and any tanks that come in here are going to see it a little later. The best position to put it is here, because that way no vehicles can see it unless they've either crossed all the way around here or they came up here, and that's not going to happen. I delete this FOB. Let's see what other command vehicles we have. We have the choice of UH-1 ROKs, command helicopters, we got command tanks, and we got command infantry. Now, the infantry are our best bet in this sector because they're the easiest ones to hide. So I move the ROK to the here, put it next to the FOB. I want to have 4 ES planes on standby. I want to have one of these KF-16s or the F-16 cheaper version on standby to deal with those Su-27s. Or Su-25, sorry. And I want to have some tanks on this line to make sure that this area is still defended. I'm going to put these in a group of... Actually, I'm going to split them up in groups of 1. That way, if an Su-25K does manage to reach them, then they're all going to be stunned. So this is probably the safest setup. Now I got 15 points left, not that much, so we're going to have to start fighting. Unload these guys. Send this recon chopper up to these bushes first. Offload and hold shift to send them back out again. Same for these. Unload. I want to send the chopper away. And they're going to offload these recon units right on the side of the mountain. These ladies, because I think that's what they are going to have quite a climb to get up here. And I gotta say, I respect these guys for going up a mountain at 30 kph. Not many people can do that. Okay, our second recon team has landed. I'm gonna try to get these guys in these bushes, and I offloaded them here because if there's any units here, that's going to complicate the landing. So I'd rather have them skirt across the open field with their very good stealth than have them offload here. Now here's some vehicles. Spotted the command vehicle, I'm going after that one with one F4. Second F4 is going after the other command vehicle. And the last one is going after these VTTs. There's one command vehicle down. That's a second command vehicle going down. There, you got him. These are the VTTs. Now keep in mind that these things carry 4 missiles, which means that they're going to be pretty effective against multiple targets. They're probably going to be able to take out 2 tanks at once. And right now there's only one VTT they can target, so I'm going to call out one of them. This way they're going to be rearmed a little earlier. Call in another F4ES. And somehow this amateur manages to miss all of these vehicles. Call in another one. I hadn't expected them to get this far in here. Right now I could pull in some SEALs to defend this area, but I'm not going to let it happen again. Right now we can see some of the Chonma Hos rolling up here. These are the cheapest tanks they have. Our K1s could take them on, but there's 8 of them, so that's a bit much for my taste. So I'm just going to call in another F4ES. And make sure that you send these guys out one by one. You send them out in a group, and that's probably going to make sure that they're not going to spend their rockets efficiently. By sending them out one by one, I make sure that they each fire at a separate target. If you don't do this, then you're going to have multiple ATGMs hitting the same tank, which is not the best use of your tanks or your ATGMs. Now they finally get spotted again, so I call out one. I wait a couple of seconds and I call out another one. Now we have a good amount of ATGMs in the air. All we need to do now is spot these guys. Here's another another CV right in the open, which is really a weird decision for these guys, but they've got to be desperate to capture these zones. That's their third command vehicle down. And we still got some of these tanks out here. So what I'm going to do now is see if I have any other available planes. They're not using any aircraft themselves because they cannot spot any ground targets. So I don't need any of my fighters right now. What I do need is more F4ESs. So I want all of these guys on standby. Wait a couple seconds to call out a new plane. Now this really is too easy for the F4ESs. They're having a very easy time in taking out these defenseless tanks. What this will also do is train up these F4ESs. They're going to gain veterancy levels, which is going to be helpful later on in the campaign when some heavier tanks are going to arrive. Now I got one F4ES in reserve, and this means that my entire airfield is full with F4ESs, which will allow me to really decimate their tanks quite quickly. Now that the area is a little safer, I can start to move up with this K111 scout vehicle. And what I want to do is try to spot their CV or some of their artillery units up here. For that I'm also going to come in with one tow helicopter. I prefer two, so yeah, let's wait a bit. Send out the K111. They got a 55 kilometer off-road speed, so it's not that good. Try to keep these guys on the road. And here's another command vehicle, which is going down pretty quickly. Unfortunately, this thing is not amphibious, so what we need to do is either go over this bridge and then this one, or cross from their main front side, which is not the best idea, since this thing doesn't have any armor. So I'm going to tell it to move here at best speed, and we spot another vehicle. So I call another F4ES. I want one there, and here comes the first Su-25K, which somehow lost sight of my vehicle, and that's why it's pulling out. Right now I don't really care about finding the command vehicle. It's more like a nice to have than a must have. And in this case I can just keep decimating their tanks, so that the next time I can actually kill the command vehicle. Here come another group of tanks. Call in some more F4ESs, and I'm having this F-16C Block 30 circle this area to make sure that the scout vehicle is protected against airstrikes. As you can see, I keep doing sorties with these guys to just blow up any tank I see. Whenever you can, prioritize Chonma Host 2 over Chonma Host Standard version, because the 2 version is a little more expensive, which is going to help you with your command points. And look, another command vehicle. There goes another command vehicle, and another tank is going down. As you can see on the eastern side, there's nothing going on. All I have here is one scout, and what he's doing is providing targets. Fortunately, there aren't any at the moment. They're down to 173 points, which means that they only need about 5 or 6 vehicles. Took out another scout vehicle, so my own scout can move up. Killing some more vehicles, and that's the game. In 8 minutes we killed 23 tanks, a couple of recon vehicles and 5 command vehicles. So the next time we're going to be facing this tank regiment, we can just take out the last command vehicle quite quickly if we have the right recon options, and this way we can win the match pretty quickly. We didn't take any losses from this because we used our superior air advantage to completely decimate this tank group. What I would have liked is to kill at least one of these Su-25s, but that's going to happen the next game. So that's it. This is another turn. We defended Young-deok and Yuichang. And in the next video I'm going to show you what is going to happen next.